Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the First Exchange podcast with me, your host, Lydia Des Dolles. And we're delighted to be back for series 2. A little bit of a break, but we are back. And I'm delighted to be joined now in studio by the one, the only IBF Flyweight World Champion, Mr. Sonny Edwards. Woo!
Thank you for having me back. Was I that last time I come in? Was I that last
Yeah,
time?
you were
okay,
world champ.
okay.
You were world champ. But I rang you last week and I was like, okay, this podcast is back. It's series 2, episode 11.
So back for the pilot.
Back for the pilot. You're the only one
Back
who
for
could
the
be
pilot,
here.
just so we can get the funding. You know what I mean? Start of a strong episode for the second
Well,
series.
you were on the very first episode of the First Exchange podcast and it done so well. I was like, let's not break tradition. So this is the thing. Every new series, you kick off.
Is that
all right?
Is that okay then?
But as always, I have no questions. I have no timeline of events. But we'll kick off and say congratulations on your great world title defense that you're just home from Dubai. Trip looked amazing. How was the experience?
Yeah, that's why I got this coat on, because it's a lot colder.
Well, listen,
over
I just
here.
had a fit of it.
Yeah, it's a lot colder over here than it is in Dubai. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Country beautiful, the people beautiful, the way I was received and treated, it was great. Big shout out to Probellum. I've been I've been there and seen a lot in boxing in however many years I've been doing it now, and that was up there with one of the best, well run, professional setups. And to say it was their inaugural show, I was really impressed. The arena I boxed in, the Coca-Cola Arena, was fantastic. I mean, it was just great, to be honest. It was like one of those points. Like, see me, I see everything as like people either say one or two things, either a game or it's a movie, innit? Like that's
It's
how
either a what?
a lot of people say that life's either a game,
Yes.
or it's a movie. Do you know what I mean? Either or.
Yeah.
But for me, like that was like a turning point in the movie. It was like a turning point in the movie.
What was the turn? Like, what was the?
Just like,
because I know that you like, you definitely spoke about it, like on Twitter and stuff, that it was such a huge moment for you. Like, I mean, that venue in itself is like incredible. You know what I mean? And you had said in the lead up to it, like, I can't believe that I'm going to be the main event here. You know what I mean? And it's like, it must have been overwhelming to a degree. Not an overwhelming where like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do the job, but like you say, one of those moments where you go, wow, look how far we've come.
Not at all overwhelming.
Was it, no?
Not overwhelming. One thing I had to stop myself doing is proper goofy smiling a lot.
What do you mean?
Like, when I'm proper happy, I look down and I can't help but smile. Do you know what I mean? And on a few occasions, but two notable occasions within the same 5 minutes, my opponent was just ring walking, and it was just me and Lyndon and the media guy and the guy who was getting us to walk. So the guy with the camera, obviously. And my opponent's his music started playing, and obviously I do what I always do. I sort of bop along. You know what I mean? Keep nice and loose. Cause I am truly enjoying it all. But like, just I really just, I could see like the whole sort of venue, and I could see sort of where he was going and up and walking out. And I just had to stop myself from proper smiling, like a proper grin teeth, and then I had to snap back into it. And then when I was in the ring as well, like I didn't really deep it too much. But one of the main things I can remember, I got in the ring, it was full up. Obviously there was his team, my team, camera people, 2 MCs, referee, whatever. And it was when the first thing I noticed, I thought, wow, this ring's quite small. Was the very first thing.
Right.
And then I was reminded that obviously Michael Buffer was announcing me.
Yeah. Which
And
is a big deal.
There was a split second when I had to turn around and just sort of, I just took it in and it was crazy. Like I said, not overwhelming, but me just sort of taking a split second at that point to take in the scenery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
In those moments, are you like, what is the sort of train of thought? When I've had obviously not, I haven't had the same experience as that, but I've had times in my career or in my life where I've gone, okay, this is a moment where I've visualized it in some way, I've saw it, or I've worked really hard and gotten to a point where you kind of go, oh my God, all those sacrifices, all that hard work, it's paid off, or it's starting to pay off. Look where I am now. Is it that kind of a thing as well? Do you kind of get that like moment where you go, look how far I've come?
A little bit, because like when you look at my pro career, I kind of have come a long way in a relatively short period of time. I mean, it was only 3-4 years ago where I was hidden away on small hall shows.
Yeah.
Maybe getting a slot on a TV card at 5 o'clock or as a float. Like, a lot of people didn't think I'd ever sort of get to this stage. And that's both in sort of the marketability as well as the level that I'm boxing at. I don't know, because I always expected it from myself, the level of performance and the level I can box at. But that doesn't necessarily translate to promotion, marketability, opportunities.
Yes.
Like typically in boxing, especially for someone my weight. So I remember saying something, I think a few days before when I was doing some media work, like, people don't, probably because there's the people that either like me or the people that dislike me, I think they're overlooking like what I've done as a flyweight boxer.
Yeah.
Is very hard to do. Like there is good flyweight fighters out there, but to drum up interest so that you're headlining Coca-Cola Arena or before that headlining BT or chief supporting on the O2 or whatever I was doing before. Like, it's not easy to do that. Like, 'cause otherwise, like, everyone would.
Yes.
And not only that, you've constantly got to be making the right steps. You've got to be fighting the right fights. You've got to make sure also that you're getting in the ring with people, not just that make you look good. 'Cause I never did that. Like, none of my opponents were picked to make me look good. Not from the very beginning. Never. They were always trying to give me rounds and to give me experience and to ask me questions. Even like early on when I was having Brett Fido in my second fight, Craig Derbyshire in my third fight, like, I know and heard multiple times there's been prospects that are like 7-8-0. Oh no, let's not fight Brett, or oh, let's not fight. Do you know what I mean? It's but straight away I've always wanted the harder challenges. So then,
did you know it would pay off eventually? That having those tougher opponents would stand to you, and you'd be able to sit here now as a world champion and say, I never dodged anyone, I never took an easy fight, I took the hard road. And
well, if it's not going to pay off, it's going to be because I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, the way I looked at it and the way I always looked at it was, I believe I'm going to be world champion like every other fighter. And if I believe that strongly, don't get me wrong, I understand timing, yeah. But I can't be turning down all these opponents on the way up if I genuinely, in my heart of heart, feels that I can beat anyone in the world. Like, so even when I was like 5-6-0, I'm looking at the world champion thinking, oh, I reckon I could do him. You know what I mean? That's genuinely what I was feeling like when Christopher Rosales knocked out Paddy Barnes. This was in the midst of the whole, when I was trying to get that fight of Paddy. Yeah. Like, I genuinely looked at Rosales like, I'd beat him. Like, say if you give me him now, I'd beat him. Like that was in my head, whether it's true or not. That's one thing. But then what I can control is, so I couldn't control getting the ring with Rosales at that point when he was world champion XYZ. Yeah. But what I could control is, when I get offered 3 opponents, I want the hardest one. I want the one that looks best. I want the one that's got the better wins. I want the one that's got the highest box rec points. Like, however, I want something. When you pick 3, I want my manager to go away from this conversation, and I want my promoter to go away from this conversation thinking, he could have had an easy opportunity then, he didn't take it. That's why I was always calling everyone out. I was always willing to fight anyone at every level on the way up, and no one was willing to face me. That's why we had to go international. So
with that then, it brings in the conversation of the sort of delusion of the fighter, right? And the delusion of...
It's a pandemic, it really is.
Yeah, right? Because like you have that... You don't call it delusion now because you call it faith, confidence, belief in yourself. But I always find it really interesting that, like, what happens when you are a fighter and you're not at the level of Sonny Edwards, but you believe that you are?
Then I class myself as world level.
Yeah.
I class myself as elite.
Yeah.
I've not proved my resume of being elite yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've beaten some very good fighters.
Yeah.
And some good fighters, some average fighters, and some poor fighters. But I, in my heart, believe I'm elite in the sense of there's not one person that I'm not getting in the ring with in my weight class that I'm not feeling confident with. I might not necessarily beat everyone all the time, but I think I'm that elite where I can be competitive against anyone that weights above as well. But for the people that aren't there, like that think they're there, like everyone thinks there's something.
Like who is the duty of care with your team? Is it your team? Is it your coach? Is it your management? Your promotion? Your friends? You know, who are the people who should stand in at that point and say you're not at the level that you think you are?
Yeah, but it's not.
Or
about
do
that.
you do
because,
that?
Do you know why? Because levels in boxing are everything, but at the same time they're nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And the way I look at it is, no matter who I'm getting in the ring with next, I could get matched up against a 0-35 kid. That's the pure journeyman. Yeah. But if I genuinely think in my head because of X, Y, and Z, if I think in my head for any other reason than we've spent a few rounds together and I have got to grasp of your boxing ability, if I think anything else makes me the definite winner over you, that's the first way up. That's the quickest route to the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, so just for example, yeah, my brother fought Carl Williams, right? Charlie was a former world champion. Carl Williams, an English level, Englishish level, British level maybe, but 2 weights above what Charlie won the world title at. Charlie boxed him, in his head, was going in there. A relatively easy fight. He won it, clear. There was no argument. There was never, not a million years, but the kid had a couple of good rounds. But because Charlie in his head thought that was impossible, when it was happening, like, it wobbled his head a little bit.
Yeah.
And what I always say to fighters is, you don't think your levels or say your levels, you show levels, you get in the ring, because everyone has got 2 arms and everyone's got 2 legs. Some of the hardest rounds I could remember back to my, like, in sparring and stuff, and even in some fights, are the people that I should be way better than. So why are they giving me harder rounds? And every time I jump in against the ones that are, oh no, this is a good kid, Sonny, I'm standing them on their head. And I recognize that from a young age. And what that taught me is complacency. It's always complacency. The moment you lose the eye of the tiger, the moment you think, this person can't hurt me, this person can't beat me, this person can't, like, no, they really can. Like, boxing, we've seen some of the biggest shocks last year. The history of boxing, there's shocks. When 2 people are having a fight, like, I could go on a straightener outside and get cleaned out by someone the same size as me, same weight as me, that's never had a fight in their life. That's not impossible to happen. So respect the ambition, respect the resilience, respect the tenacity of any of the opponents you're getting matched in with. Whether you think they're good, whether you think they're bad, whether you think this is an easy touch. Like, because the moment you start going down that garden path, then you want all the fighters to make you look good. You don't want no hard tests. You want the hype train to keep going. Like, you want all of these things. But then eventually, on the step up, you're going to pick someone that you thought, because you might have watched 1 or 2 of their fights, you looked at him get beat by him, or lost to him, or like, you might just look at their record. Like, Harvey Horn's the perfect example, right? So, shout out to recent show saver cosign.
Yes, we're going to go on to show savers.
Fadili Majid, the Tanzanian terror. But I know this, because I've heard it facts, that it was only on the Wednesday or something, or the Tuesday of Harvey's fight week with, oh no, he boxed in the middle of the week, I think. So it was only about a week before his fight or less that he found out the opponent that he's getting in the ring with in a matter of days isn't just a 27 at the time and 14 journeyman that's lost to Paul Butler, lost to Selby, lost to might have beat all these random Africans in his opinion. But he only found out like 4 or 5 days before the fight that Fadili had put down Selby twice because he didn't do his research properly. Do you know? Because he just looked at the numbers on BoxRec, who he'd lost to, who'd thing.
Yes.
He overlooked that. And I know for a fact, 'cause I know Harvey very well, that his ass fell out at that time because he went, oh, he put Selby. I watched the interview. You know what I mean? Whereas mentioning me doing all right against Moretti, a 13-year unbeaten, 2 times world champion, hadn't lost since Nonito Donaire done him on a cart 13 years previously. I did all right against an old man. And he got knocked out by a kid that I manage now. So yeah.
Which leads us on.
Well. Help manage. He's one of our co-signs.
Which leads us on to your new project.
Yeah, well,
it's a little bit of a project.
Yeah, so I'm a part. Yeah, me, Lee, and Tom Stalker.
Oh yes, very good.
So people I've known with a fair few years.
Mm-hmm.
Even boxed on some of these shows. I used to train and live pretty much with Tom over in Marbella, learning from the amateur days. Yeah, like a lot of fighters.
So what is the concept of show savers for anyone that doesn't know or isn't aware of it?
Well, it's kind of like what it says on the tin. We are there
yes, I know this, but it's a podcast, so let's explain to the people.
Show savers are here to save shows.
It's very cleverly SHO.
Yeah.
Hashtag show.
I'm the face.
But what was the idea behind it, or what is, because journeymen...
Not just journeyman, no. First of all, we're getting...
See, there you go. Explain
first of all, we're getting rid of that term because it is true,
yes.
But these are away fighters. They're fighters that typically are only losing because they're getting 2-3 days notice. Not only losing, but they get 2-3 days notice. They're never fighting at the right weight because the lightweights will always get the super featherweights up. We'll always get them up. Apart from the flyweights, we have to get them the bantamweights down. You know, see how it's funny on the other side, so we don't knock no one out. You know what I mean? But we just want the away fighters. We want proper fighters. And if you look at 7, I want to misquote myself, 7 or 6 of the 8 announced signings we've got have all got winning records.
Yeah,
all got winning records. So more like, I know in America it's kind of used as an offensive phrase, but I, as a boxer, don't see it as one. Club fighters. Fighters that are ready to pick up the phone and go and fight. Do you know what I mean?
So what do they mean by club fighters? Like...
Well, like club fighters are people that fight, not on the TV shows, they're fighting on the... They're like, oh, he's a club fighter. In America, it means like...
Okay.
Kind of like he's a journeyman, but he's not. Like a Gabe Rosado at some point probably would have been a club fighter.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, he's got a big name.
So it's trying to... if I'm right, it's what you're trying to do is take the stigma away from the, like, away corner or the journeyman or the club fighter. I think a lot of people think when they hear journeyman, they think it's just like some dud that's been thrown in there.
Yeah, I know. But when typically, not only one, especially if you like small hall boxing, most of the time, probably 8 times out of 10, maybe 7 times out of 10, in a fight, you see the local fighter, all his fans jumping up and down, fancy kit. You see the away corner with his little Lonsdale no logo kit. But who do you think they're just walking out the ring with more money? 7 or 8 times out of 10?
Well, this is true, yeah. So really they are the winner.
They might have lost the fight, but they might have come here to lose the fight.
Yeah.
But that's all by the by, that's how boxing. But what our concept is, we want fighters that want to fight.
Yes.
We have a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities with me, Lee and Tom Stalker. We've got a lot of connects in boxing.
Obviously Lee and Tom are with MTK, so they've got a wealth of...
but not just that. Because through being a promoter, Lee has worked with all the other promoters making fights, and so we're well positioned in world boxing. And Lee's obviously dealt with opponents from all over the world, so we're signing setups as well with like a group of fighters that we can use and use on our database, on our books.
So let me ask you. I can understand why Lee and Tom would want to get involved in a project like this. Why does a current world champion want to get involved in a project like this?
So, I've always wanted nothing but boxing as my life. Like, I don't see what I do as a job. I don't see coming here speaking to you. I don't see the training session I just done. I don't see getting up and doing the strength conditioning tomorrow. I don't see any of that as a job. So, my goal when I really look at it and step back is from now, since I've turned 18, I've never had a job. I'm 26 now, just turned. I never needed a job. I've also, bear in mind, I've also never relied on no one. I've never been dependent on no one. Like, I've had myself since I was 18. I left London to move to Sheffield. and I've had myself. But boxing's allowed me to do that. At first, it was like uni, scholarship, GB, that. Then it was turn pro, and go down that route. But boxing's given me a good lifestyle as well. Like I've experienced a lot of things that most 26-year-olds, 25, 26-year-olds probably wouldn't have had the chance to experience just yet. I've seen the things, I've seen the places. Like I'm living a good existence. Like I'm really kind of happy with how it's all working out. Got 2 beautiful kids that I'm providing for. I'm more than providing for. They're excelling. But my real level of expertise in this world is boxing. I've been doing it since I was 9 years old. So what's that? 17 years?
Yes.
So it's over 17 years. 17 years. I've been doing boxing for, and nothing else do I proper submerge myself in. Like I go to all the shows I can get to.
Yeah, which is actually genuinely you do.
I do.
I always like even small little shows where I'm like doing the graft. I'm like Sonny.
No, but even out of camp, I'll go to a boxing show and say if I'm on the partying mentality, I'll just go do it every day. Like, but when I'm not, when I'm in camp, I'm out of 10, 12 weeks, and genuinely, the moment I'm in camp, no nightclub, no bar, no social setting sees me. But when I'm looking, I'm fighting in 12 weeks. Oh, there's this card, that card, that. I'm going that one. I'm going that one. I'm going that one.
To keep you occupied in
It's my Saturdays. It's my Saturdays. That's like my break.
Yeah.
The week before I boxed Mama,
well, you were climbing railings, were you not?
So Linden Box Yard.
Yeah.
So I weren't missing that. So I finished my training, drove down, watched it. We drove back that night at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. The next day, it was my son's birthday. I was at his house with Paw Patrol bouncing up and down. Then we went to the play centre, and I was the big kid that was in there running around, playing with all the other, running around, playing tag, whatever. And then the next day, I'm flying to Dubai.
So let me.
But you had a question from before that we haven't got back to. Why does Sonny Edwards want to do?
Why does Sonny Edwards want to do it, right? And we will get back to that. But what we'll ask you very, very quickly is not that you were going to Dubai and I was like, there's a possibility that he could lose because of every faith in you. But do you recognise that if you had lost that fight, the first thing boxing Twitter would have said, he shouldn't have been down at Lyndon's fight. He shouldn't have been doing this. He shouldn't have been doing that. He should have been conserving his energy. He didn't take that world title fight seriously.
But it's just me though, and I had this conversation with my manager.
Yeah.
My manager, who's managed me my whole career. Yeah. And he wasn't there. In Dubai, he had another fighter.
Yeah, this is Anto. Yeah.
Yeah, Anto. Shout out Anto. And he went. I couldn't really. I was trying to get hold of it, and he went. But in like the second or third round, I thought he was a bit tired.
Yeah.
And all I was sat there was thinking, that's because he's gone Lyndon's fight. I told him he shouldn't. Like, bear in mind, he's the one that sorts my tickets out.
Yeah.
He was also telling me not to go, and I was like,
can you understand that? You understand it was fair show?
I can understand it. Yeah. But the way I am, I don't overthink anything. I mean, they tried flying me out on the Friday to Dubai to give myself to acclimatise. Yeah. I said no. Can I fly out on the Monday so I can be there for my son's birthday? Which was on a Sunday.
I can appreciate that.
Most fighters wouldn't have done that.
That is true. They wouldn't, and a lot don't.
My brother even was like, "Wow, I can't believe you did that."
I know how important Chance and Bobby are to you. Look, everyone's children are important to them, but you are always someone who's like, they really are at the top of your priority list. Would you have, the thought of not being there for their birthdays, is that just a non-negotiable for you, or were you
because it's gonna happen
for the Monday?
No, it's gonna happen. When they try booking my flights, and I just asked the question: is there any chance I can fly late Sunday or on Monday? Any chance? If there's no, then sorry, Chance, sorry, Bobs, I'm gonna have to go. And this is how I'm providing for you. So there's that, but there will be them times that come up,
of course.
And there has been times when I've missed stuff because of boxing, plenty of times. So if there's any time that I can't miss, I cannot miss something big, if that makes sense. Yeah. Even like I said, all I had to do was just be a bit more. Everyone was going, "Oh, what about time zone difference, climate in?" And my answer is the same. I'm a fighter. I don't buy into or care about any of the external things. I've had to prepare and plan for fights with serious injuries. I've had to plan and prepare for fights with babies coming. I've had to plan and prepare fights with everything in between. So, do you really think now I'm going to lose the fight I was going to win just because I flew out there a day later? Like, for me, I think that's, you see, you're crazy even suggesting it. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, one, when I was younger, when I was a pro in my second fight, when I boxed Brett Fido, I flew in from Marbella to Spain, landed at 4:00, which is a 3-hour flight.
Yeah.
And I was fighting by 8 o'clock at night.
At night?
At night. Against an opponent who the day before was a different opponent at 51 kilos. And now, today, the opponent's changed and he's 55 kilos.
Do you kind of buzz off that?
That I can do anything, yeah?
Are you like, bring it on,
what do you think
let's go?
But where do you think I get my inner belief from?
Well,
not from people telling me I'm good, not from me telling myself I'm good.
We talk about this in interviews, and we also talk about it outside of interviews when we're just chatting about your self-belief. And like, because it's an area that I'm extremely interested in, because I believe that, like, you know, if you plant a seed in a child's mind from a very early age that they can do something or that they can't do something, and you instill that in them every day, time and time again, until they're adults, they will believe that, like, subconsciously or consciously, whatever it is, right? And your self-belief is like, it's not, and I suppose it's because you have the skill set to back it up, that I always felt that whether people love you or hate you, they can never deny your skill, and they have to appreciate the level of self-belief that you have. And to have that, like, unwavering belief in yourself, like, maybe I appreciate it more because I'm in a position where I have to have self-belief in times of stuff that I do. Do you know what I mean? It's not, it's not easy for me to, like, you know, if I wake up this morning and go, I don't think I can, you know, that's yours, yeah. And the second one is yours, it's there.
What boy?
I can't, you know, especially when I'm doing stuff on TV, like, there's moments where, you know, you might doubt yourself, that you might get nervous, or like, what if I can't do it and it's live, or, you know, obviously it's a little bit different than like getting into a ring and having to fight, but there's still a level of belief that you need in yourself, or a confidence. Yeah,
for sure.
So I can appreciate it. Do you know what I mean? And
but I can have these conversations with people that aren't boxers, and usually the same sort of thing. We always root back to the same sort of, like, the same sort of point, the whole crux, whatever it is. Like, and this is the way I see the world, anyway. Like, boxing's my thing.
It's how you see the world. That is where
it's a different perspective.
Yeah, that is where it actually lies. Is that, like, you see the world in a very unique way that I don't think a lot of people do.
And like I said, boxing's my thing, right?
Yeah.
So boxing is something that I have dedicated 17 years, trained regularly. Didn't really have many as a kid. I never had no breaks. We used to fight, win a championship on a Saturday, Sunday. We didn't miss training. We'd go to Monday, take our trophies, or we'd be in the gym. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we was on. Our dad was like Sergeant Major. We was on it. And even now, I don't like staying at the gym too much when I fought. So I've spent 17 years, countless hours. So, like, say if I train 300 days a year.
Yeah. For
an hour or two.
Yeah.
Times that by 17. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now you genuinely think, yeah. No, let's be serious. You genuinely think, yeah, that no matter what happens, I could get knocked out by the first punch in my next fight.
Yeah.
You genuinely think that any of these people, but boxing's not their thing.
Yeah.
It might be an interest. It might be something they like watching. It might just be something they like tweeting about. But you think something, because if it was their thing, I would know who they are. I would know these people that are talking to me, because boxing's your thing the same way as mine.
Yes. Like,
the conversations I've had with people when they've been boxing for 20, 30 years, like, will be very, very different to a conversation I'm going to have with someone that started watching boxing after AJ White or McGregor Mayweather. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, first of all, it's like, I don't think really anyone is qualified, especially outside of the boxing domain, to tell me better than I should know about boxing.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I encourage it, and I want you speaking about it, and I want everyone speaking about it. Why do you think people don't click on to, like, why I reply to the things I reply to, why I don't reply to the things I don't reply to? But, like, I'll reply to someone being horrible to me, and then I'll start a tweet thread that goes on for days. That goes for day. Like, I guarantee if I looked on my Twitter now, there'll be 2 to 3 people arguing.
Yeah.
And I've not tweeted them, any of them. They're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
My concern for you
people
in
love
that,
it. But people love
yeah,
it.
but it is like, I always think of your energy conservation. And knowing you, I know that you're able for it and you love the, you know, the back and forth of it. And I know you love,
because this,
you know, getting a one up on someone, or, you know, like, or you having your moments, and you're so good at it. That's why so many people are tuned in to see you do your thing on Twitter. But I do, as your friend, like, sit back and go, is that a waste of your energy?
maybe, but when my energy, like, okay, this is a perfect example. Don't make myself too much. I was with someone the other day. Just not the other day. A few weeks, few months, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've just had a full blown back and forward posting pictures of them on Instagram. Proper full on. Yeah, loads of people laughing. One of the things I got blocked, not blocked, reported, and yeah. Half an hour this had been going on. This person is just on their phone next to me. Clicks it. Yo, what's going on? They had no idea from the conversation we was having, from what we was doing, watching the film, my mannerisms, the way I was.
So you weren't on any stress.
Idea. No, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is all like, I'm literally sat like this. And then my phone goes down and I forget, like, half the time I forget about what I tweet. I just tweet reactive. Like, just to whatever. Like, it's just funny to me.
Yeah.
But going back, and the reason why I find it so easy to not let it affect my energy, to have my self-confidence, and to not let other people's opinions really sway what I do, who I do it with, when I do it, etc., is because some people may see this as a bad thing. Some people see this as a negative or a pessimistic thing. But you see, in this world, no one really cares, Lydia. No one really cares. People care about themselves.
Yes.
People care about the people that they love.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, everything else is just a mild bit of interest that will move the emotion needle only slightly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Only slightly. But people want to feel something. So for me to be memorable, I help and encourage them to feel something on me. Either like that I'm a little dick, or dislike me, and a big range of in between. But no one really cares. Like, they might put out their opinion, but the moment that they've stopped opinioning, and now their wife's giving them a headache because they didn't take out the bins, what's more of a pressing matter to them? Like, I know a lot of these Twitter trolls. Like, they started off trolling me, and now, like, I'm friends with a few of them. Because these people, even though they might say some out there stuff, but the way I look at them a bit more is like dark comedy. Like, so they might say something completely like let's say, for example, one thing I can just remember. Yeah. Something about Sonny's mum's the queen of Chernobyl or something like that. Yeah. Something along those lines. Yeah.
When you retweet stuff and your mum is involved or your children are involved, that's when I'm like, now I'm getting involved.
No, but
I have to sit on my hands and be like, no, it's not your.
No, but at the same time, like, especially when it's someone that, like, they're public with it. It's like when Woodhouse did it, I was laughing, double, because I've got them that mad,
that they've risked, drawn for that they've gone and done something that can potentially negatively affect them.
So when they take it to them levels, I just think, I've got you. You know what I mean?
Which goes back to your bulletproof mindset. Which goes back to the fighting mindset and, like, the self-belief. It's like this.
Like I said, no one really cares. Like, again,
it's like,
no one cares. No one cares.
It's just like, you know, I don't know how many times that I've said, hey, Sonny, he just does not give a bollocks. And you genuinely don't. There's so many people that you meet in this industry that, like, they're like, I don't give a bollocks about that. But they really do. Yeah. And they really do care. But you actually don't.
The way I've set myself up, someone's like, so when I speak big and I speak confidently, the one thing I usually get is, oh, you're setting yourself up for a big fall. Yeah. Do you not think I up the stakes on a purpose? I want to up the stakes to the highest that they can be. I'm not a disrespectful boxer, I wouldn't like to think. So I don't just start back and forwards for no reason, ever. Look at my fights. I've had one fight that we built up, and that's because they started it, and that was Ryan Farag. And apart from that, I'll match energy. Like my person in real life, whatever energy you come with me, I reciprocate. And I usually add a little bit on top. So if you're good to me, I like being good to you, and I like being a little bit better. See, if you're a dick to me, I like being a dick to you, but I like being a little bit worse. Do you know what I mean?
Can you ever claw back? If someone is a dick to you, can they ever claw back into your good books?
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, it's how you take all of this. Like, it's how you take it. Like, if you're disrespecting me, like, expect to feel disrespected. Don't get me wrong, that's not to say that sometimes I don't look back in hindsight and think,
I was a bit harsh.
Maybe a bit harsh, or do you know what? I didn't need to say that.
Yes.
So one.
Well, that's good. That's good that you have that internal dialogue.
But one thing I will say is I knew myself at the time wanted to say it. And that's why I don't beat myself up or be too hard on myself. Do you know what I mean? I might think, probably shouldn't have. Not that I probably shouldn't have, because I can say anything I want and no one will ever stop me. Like, I'm not one of these that are trying to get into the world of political correctness, being a BBC face and da-da-da-da-da-da. If anything, I avoid that. I've had BBC trying to get me on for 2 different features. And I've kind of just, no, I have completely ignored them, even to the point of one of them messaging my sister and that. Like,
does that annoy you that media or journalists will contact your family members who are not really involved in your career?
No, not really, because I think they had like a mutual, so it was a message passed for a message, you know what I mean?
But that would infuriate me if somebody contacted one of my family members.
What I'm saying is like, I'm not one of them people that craves fame. I'm not one of those people that even craves attention. Like, people think I do.
You're good at it. You're good at the fame thing.
No, but that's just me being myself. Like, but because I'm being myself, I can come here and be myself. I can go on iPhone and be myself. I can even go on BT. And yes, I might be suited up and a bit more presentable and trying to word things in a certain way just so the audience that's watching can receive what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm still being myself. Like, I still wouldn't, just because I was sat in a BT chair, be singing up all the praises, Like, if I felt something was right, I'd say it. If I felt something was wrong, I'd say it. Just who I am, whether people like it or not, or get annoyed at it. I'm doing a job that I'm there to do. But because I'm not, like, I have no, like, if I could just sort of do boxing very, very well and elite and just be known just to boxers, I would like, just to boxers and boxing fans. Yeah. But like to all the boxing fans is what I'm trying to get to as high as I can. Yeah. But like, so your superstar status,
being a global icon, or like, you know, globally recognized, you don't want to transcend your sport, is what you mean. Like, if we look at, for perfect example, is Conor McGregor has transcended MMA.
Come off it. How am I ever going to transcend boxing to, like...
Well, you could very easily. Easily.
Like, there is superstars. We have some superstars.
Here's a question for you. In terms of the legacy that Conor McGregor has created for himself within MMA, just MMA now, just the sport and his skill set in it, compared to Sonny Edwards' skill set and what you've achieved in the sport, do you think that you wouldn't, on the basis of that you wouldn't be able to transcend?
Oh, but we're not talking about skills, like, because...
Like, yeah, but I'm trying to understand why you
because Conor McGregor at one point,
why you wouldn't think that you couldn't transcend boxing if Conor has transcended MMA.
So I don't want to do all that sucky uppy shit. Like, I don't want to do any of that, making sure you rub up to the right people. I don't want to do any of that, make sure you always say the right things. I don't want to do all of that, get a social media manager to be running in your ad campaign. Like all of that is energy. You know, when you talk about wasting energy, that to me would be a waste of energy. Okay. I'm talking, like, I don't want to have to make sure, okay, for this brand I'm posting 8 times a month. This brand I'm doing Like, I like being very picky and choosy of what I do and when I do it. Like, I'm always there, I'm thereabouts. But again, in boxing, you know what I mean? In boxing. But skill-wise, I think I'm up there with as talented as any fighter that exists right now. And in my head, that has ever existed. Because I'm still young. I'm still coming through. Like, I'm still developing and maturing and progressing all the time. It's just that I got to world level before I managed to, you know, do my whole... Some people spend 15 years getting to world level. From ages 32 to like 35, they're at world level, if that, or they're big money fights, and then they just disappear off into the sunset. I've jumped at world level early and I want to be there for a long time. And that's how I'll get my legacy of greatness in boxing. But you got to remember, I'm a flyweight, I'm 5'3", and I'm like Marmite, so I'm not ever going to be the poster boy. I'm never going to be the most marketable person. And really, the biggest cards I'll be on, I won't even be the biggest name on the card. But I have, like everyone else in boxing, I have a role, an important role to play in boxing. One thing I do think I'm doing, I do think I'm sort of bringing the interest in a big way to the flyweight scene.
Yeah.
Not just me, we've got some others. But until I've arrived, there was never ever no talk of this champion fighting that champion. Bear in mind, my brother was there just a bit before, so I know, like, my brother was trying to make unification fights happen. No one else was. Like, everyone was just sort of in their own lane, trying to sort of, like, build up steady away. But, like, me, like, my intentions of boxing and my world title reign are clear. My world title reigns, hopefully I have more in the future. I just want proper fights. If I would get more out of myself with retiring with a record of like 35 wins, 4 losses. But do you know when people say, do you know Sonny, he fought anyone? He went up weight to fight the best as well. Like, these are the things that I want on my record. Not, oh yeah, it doesn't have to be, oh, Sonny was 40-0. But, oh, he didn't fight him at this time. And he didn't fight him. And he kind of didn't fight him and he moved down instead of like, I don't want that. If as soon as the general public of who I know that watches me and my divisions and like are calling for a fight, that's the fight I want. Like, because you think if you're getting excited for the fight, believe me, I will get more excited than any of you lot ready to watch it. Trust me.
Which brings me back to what we're talking about, full circling here, but going back to when we're talking about the Show Savers project, you know, you wanting to be involved in boxing. Do you feel then, you know, when I say to you, why are you doing that? You're at arguably the pinnacle of your career now. You're like a world champion. You've just defended your title. You know, you have this huge big fight that's coming up. It's like such an exciting time for you, an important time for you in terms of your career, and you're choosing to, what I would view it as, give back in a way.
That's crazy. Cause I'm like,
let me say it first before you jump in.
Let's not make out I'm doing charity work.
No, I'm not saying charity work, but it's like a thing of, you don't have to do this now. You know, you don't have to put your time and your energy into highlighting guys who maybe don't have the profile, that definitely don't have the profile that you do. Like, wanting to do that. And I'm saying this to you because I want to ask you the question of, do you feel that you owe something to boxing? Do you feel like there is a service that you owe to boxing?
I don't feel like
how well you've done it.
I don't feel like I owe anything to boxing. What I do say is that boxing owes a lot to us that we never see. And when I say us, I don't mean me, because like we've said earlier, I'm doing all right. Yeah. But I meet and see and spend time and become friends with and become family with and everything in between boxers every day, right? And boxing is very good to very few people. And there's a lot of fighters that deserve so much more than what they're getting. With me, my thing is, my outlook of boxing is, give someone an opportunity and it's on them what they do with it. Obviously, like, boxing is like WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, all the scripts to a certain degree, with all the narratives that they paint. Like, I've started seeing that as I was getting up the ranks a bit more. Like, you realise that all the interviews that you're doing, they're all asking you kind of like swayed questions to certain things to paint the narrative of the whole picture. Do you know, as I got up to like the world titles and like, I was like, oh, okay, well, this explains it. And after, you know, watching countless interviews and like, and how the press conferences, they might be real, they might be like kind of fabricated, they might just be like improv sessions, you know, like just taking it as far as you can to sell the fight. But like, so many fighters just don't get the opportunities, like, at all. They don't get any opportunities, like, and any opportunities they do get, everything's stacked against them. Will I be able to come straight in? Am I trying to just completely change that narrative? No, not necessarily. I think boxing's got levels, and I'm right this little small thing at the bottom. I'm just a boxer. Yeah, world champion. It sounds nice, but I'm just a one boxer. And now obviously I'm involved in this management company. Show Savers. But mine it's more just like there's fights like take Isomba for example. We fought 18 months ago.
The relationship that it appears that you both have now is pure.
I like him, but like you got to remember, dial it back. When did I fight him? 2020. Dial it back 8 years previous. I was sat in. I'm pretty sure I ring walked one of them, and it was either Paddy or it was a Somba. But I was sat there at the Olympic Games watching Paddy Barnes beat a Somba, and then finding out the next day a Somba and the rest of the Cameroon team has defected into the UK. And then the next year or 2 years later, I seen him fight in the ABA finals. He got injured. He couldn't even move one of his legs, and he just got beat by Harvey Horn. And then like from that, so I've been onto him for a long time. And then I've watched his career, and I've always known him to be a good fighter. And then I fought him. It's probably my hardest test up to that point, record-wise, no. And even if you look at the scorecard, it's probably one of the closest fights. And the fights that gave me a few of the more tricky, interesting times when we're both catching each other. And then, because of that, I brought him in for my sparring for Maruti. I fought him for the IBF in the stepping stone towards Maruti, because I thought, he might be a southpaw, he might be orthodox, but strong African, older than me. I was just sort of trying to, and they can both fight like fuck. Do you know what I mean? Obviously Maruti elite, but Somba very good fighter. Just again, when you're constantly getting fighters, and not only that, do you know what it is? Yeah, right. Sorry, talking about Somba, go on, because he's like my main. Sorry for all the other show savers, but he's like my main. Like I want to do something with him. He's training in our gym. I'll get into that part. So I'm getting to that part of the story. Go on. Let me just talk on the Somba for a bit. Then brought him in from Maruti. Did about 60 something rounds with me. Paid sparring partner. Yeah. Was there all when I needed him. Done all the rounds I needed him to. Proper spot on. Like a proper good guy as well. And then over the periods in between that fight and getting the mama, he just sort of reached out to me like, oh, would you know anyone that would be interested in change? Like I've probably got a few years left. I just want to shake it up a little bit. Now? He's
31, is he?
I think 31, 32. Yeah. I think he might have just turned around that. Yeah. I might have a few years left. But I just want a little change up, and I've got straight onto the phone to Grant. What I thought was the same thing that he thought with Pierce, who's my assistant coach. Yeah. And Pierce Goodyan, yeah. He was an amateur with us as well. Like before I joined, so years ago. He's been in Silver City for years. Yeah. But then so I brought him over. And he loves it in our gym. And do you know what the sad thing is? And I don't wanna and genuinely, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I don't want to talk down or disrespect anyone else that's been involved in his boxing career previously when I say what I say next. But because obviously I understand boxing, so I understand what happens, and it's not even a personal thing. People have lives, Just we're lucky that in our gym we take things so seriously that whether you're an amateur, whether you're a Somba, whether you're me, you hit the sessions, you do your responsibilities. The trainers are there. Do you know what I mean? Sparring's there every week. Do you know what I mean? It's like we have a proper setup. We have strength and conditioning. We have everything in house. Yeah. And I was speaking to somebody over Christmas. I went on a night out. But it's the first time since he's been in the UK. He's like reminds him of when he used to love boxing, when he was in Cameroon. You know, when he was no, but but it is a sad. You know what? It is quite a sad story. Yeah, and I hope you don't think I'm talking too much, Nick. Because obviously I would never do that. Like, but
no, but it's
when he had the whole setup and he had goals and he had ambition. Like he loved boxing. He goes, "That's when I was good." That's what he says. He goes, "That's when I was good, really good." Bear in mind, Somba was an elite amateur. He had over 100 fights, and I think he lost less than 7 or something. Like, he was very, 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 very good. Like he was like one of the best African fighters. But again, because
it's circumstance and everything that goes with it.
But now he's in a place where he's being shown genuine love and genuine, like, people that care for him. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of boxing bites people up and spits them out. That's typically what it does. Life does that anyway.
Yeah.
So like, this is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to talk down on any of the other places that involve Thomas, because this is life. Do you know what I mean? Thomas isn't a massive earner, so how much time can they put to him? But we're just lucky. We had to set up, and now he's like my training partner.
Yeah.
So we train at the same times. So then, if we want to spar, we can spar. Like he like, for the whole Mama camp, bear in mind it was 2 of them because of what happened, and I had to get another camp.
Yeah.
Like, he was there. Like, he did all my round sparring. He did So like, I'm just simply looking at it from a perspective of, if I can do anything to help this man, like, I'm going to. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a...
Which is my point that I'm making about you, in that, like, you know, there's a lot more to you than what boxing Twitter sees.
Yeah, but boxing...
You've got a big heart. You've got a big heart, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
like, this is what I mean. It's like, you know, you're like, oh, like, I you know, yeah, like, don't care, gonna just call you out on this. But at the very back of it, like, you have such this love and care for boxing and the sport and the people that are in it.
No, but again, I've already said my mentality. If someone's good to me, I like to be better than them. If someone's good to me, I like...
such a heart.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, anyone that's good to me and I can see that they're good to me,
yes,
I want to be better. Like, I want, like, oh, you've done that for me, because I've had so many people in my life that, because I'm always quite but I'm not even going to say what I do for people. I never need to, yeah? But anyone that knows me knows, and anyone that I've done stuff for knows the type of person I am. And that's why I've got a lot of the same friends around me.
Yeah.
I'm friends with a lot of the people I've fought with. I managed 2 of them now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So
like, I'm not inherently a bad person. People think I'm this, that, because they see 1 or 2 things about me. But like I said, if someone, so Thomas, I thank him so much, yeah, for a lot of things. And him still being in the gym is bringing me on so much. Like, like, so much, because I fought him. I've got the mentality of when I was in the ring with him in a fight. I can now bring that into my spars. I can mold them into one. Then I can get confidence about doing that against someone of that level, against someone in a ring again. Does that make sense? Like, absolutely. For me, logic is everything. Do you know what I mean? Logic is, okay, this happened. I know it doesn't always work like that, but that's how my trail of thought runs.
Thanks.
And me knowing how good a Sombra is, knowing how tough he is, knowing how tricky he is, knowing how strong he is, and then some things like that I can maybe pull off in a spar, or it gives me a great deal of confidence going forward. Not only that, I can learn a lot of things against iron sharpens iron, and genuinely, and like, his record's now, what, 10-7, but still to this day, like, he gave me a harder fight than Jason Mama did. Like, and outside of Maruti.
And have you said this to him? Obviously,
yeah, we've had conversations. Yeah,
what has he said to you?
But I never, like, in our conversations, I never need to sit there and just, like, complimenting him or flattering him. Like, we don't need to do that. But he said stuff like, he's come out to, like, so coming near the end of my camp, he was like, see, when you're letting your shots go, you're hurting me. Like, you need to keep doing it. You need to have confidence to let, like, there's certain things, certain conversations that will go a long way from someone like that. Yeah. Because I don't just look at him as, oh, Thomas Somba, been on TV a couple of times. Like, no, he has put his whole life into boxing. And it's just because of where he's born from. If he was a 2-time Olympian from the UK, let's just watch Galal's career. Yeah. Let's watch Galal's career. Yeah. Somba's a 2-time Olympian that beat a lot of good fighters about the amateur scene. But just because he's African, the setup's a bit different, his whole trajectory of a career will be different. I mean, his first loss was like a spar or something that he just wrote down as a loss in France. It was nutty, yeah. His first ever professional loss. And then he had a little go at it. Couldn't get no support really in the UK. So just went on the road, beat some good fighters, lost some good fighters. Like, and what's funny, so we've as a team, yeah, have to be careful the wording. Because I'm not a boxing manager. What? I haven't got my license based on what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, yeah. Right, okay. Is this exclusive?
Yeah, I don't mind signing. But you just have to get it. But you have to be a boxer for 3 years.
Yeah, but it's what will come after.
So what I'm saying, so right now, I'm just like a part of the company rather than a boxing manager. But we've got 2 licensed boxing managers out of the 3 people. Yeah. So we're good. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not one of them ones, yeah. But already, like so there was about from when we signed Thomas, there was about a week before all like the Christmas and that, and there was a fight. I'm not gonna name.
Let's not get everyone in trouble here.
No,
now.
I'm not gonna name anyone. But what I'm saying is, there's someone that I was on Team GB with, so he's from the same sort of class as myself.
Okay.
He was an undefeated fighter, or was he? No. He's lost once. As a pro, I think maybe, or might have lost since. I don't know. But anyway, so someone that when I got on GB was ahead of me until I was on there.
Okay.
He was matched on a card just before Christmas, week before Christmas. Yeah. And he really wanted to fight. He was asking opponents fall through, all of that. Carry on.
Yeah.
He was begging for a fight, wanted to fight so bad. Family before Christmas, all of that nonsense. He got for Thomas Asomba.
Yeah.
We've got 3-4 matchmakers on it, no one else.
Mm-hmm.
He chose not to fight before Christmas and to fight Thomas. Do you know what I mean? So when you might think, he's a this level fighter because of this, the way you really look at the levels of fighters is how the other fighters around in their division deal with them. Do you know what I mean? That's how you really work out who's who. Yeah. Why was no one in a rush to fight him? But everyone's calling him out. Okay. You know what I mean? That's how you can sort of gauge it a little bit.
So let me tell you, or ask you this then. If in a perfect world, you know what you know now, you have the experience, the life experience, the boxing experience, everything, and Thomas comes to you day one, setting off on his professional career, what are you advising him to do differently than what he did? Can you look at
That's
it like
the thing?
that?
No, but do you know why I don't think you can?
Why?
Because there's deeper issues of boxing that may be getting ironed out right now with people expanding into all the other sides of Europe, Australia, people expanding into Africa now. We're seeing for the first time really ever. Yeah. But that's the world as well. The world's going back to Africa, Lydia. The world's going back to Africa.
We got to put our tinfoil hats back on. Let's go.
The world's going back to Africa because things are changing in this world.
I don't know. Everyone seems to be in Accra at the moment.
Exactly.
In Ghana.
But what I'm
Everyone's
saying
on holidays there.
Yeah, but people are opening their eyes to the image of Africa that we get on our Western TVs isn't necessarily the whole picture. Do you know what I mean? But that's a whole nother story for another day. But like I said, I don't think
that's the real podcast.
I don't feel like because the way there is things that would need to change systematically, really, for me to really be able to. Because like I said, if he was born in this country or came to this country a long time ago, and managed to sort of be like a first or second gen here, a second gen here rather than a first gen.
I actually don't understand with Team GB. Just say, for example, if somebody had come from Africa, a boxer from Africa, and they wanted to have their journey here, what is the protocol for Team GB? Do you have to be here for a certain amount of time before you can join Team
I think it's
GB?
something to do with citizenship.
Okay.
I think it's something to do with citizenship.
Right.
I think it's for other countries, I'm not sure. Typically, GB's made up of only fighters that have been born here. Yeah. Typically, or maybe moved from.
I always like it with the Irish football team, for example. Like half of the team growing up was like UK fighters or UK footballers.
Grew up in Birmingham.
And my great grandmother was from Cork. Do you know what I mean?
Well, guess what?
Go on.
Did you see my heritage?
No.
So
don't say you're Irish, are you?
So I got
your dad is. I've met your dad. Your dad definitely has his Irish.
You think?
Yeah, you're 100%.
You think?
Yeah,
I don't know about that, but I don't know about that, but
was it not on your dad's side? It was on your ma's side.
I don't know. So my sister did it. I haven't even done it yet. You know, one of them DNA heritage things. Yeah. Yeah. And I know I'm Anglo-Saxon, so I know that you're gonna have the German, the French, the thing. But like my breakdown was like 90-something% European, Great British and Irish, and then German and French, but the Irish had roots to County Cork, which is weird because the 4 places that come up on my thing was Germany, France, County Cork, and the UK, London, and I've been to all them places. Which I think is just mad. Like I've actually been to Cork. I boxed there when I was younger. My first fight for England. Yeah. My first ever fight was in Cork.
Cork is somebody was talking to me about Cork recently. Anyway, so I was at some boxing where someone was talking to me about Cork. But actually, maybe I think because Dalton would have fought there. I think maybe it was Grant.
That's when I first met Dalton and
no
Grant.
way, because it was actually Grant who was telling me about going to Cork.
That's when I first met Grant.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, see,
And
it's all connected.
DNA. See, so I would, because I'm tinfoil hat, I would be like, this is your life purpose, your life path. All
And you know what was mad? Yeah,
tying into your DNA.
I don't think I've ever told Dalton this. Yeah, you know what's funny? Like, I always had a big chip on my shoulder. Yeah, when it comes to boxing, and every time I was getting to these fights, I got to a couple of finals. Yeah, lost, and that was it. No, our little England trip,
So
no little
how
this
old
trip.
were you at this time when you were meeting
15,
Grant and Dalton?
15.
So
But no,
it's like-
I'd seen Dalton about the circuit because he was a good fighter, and he'd beaten a couple of our Repton fighters whilst I was at
Yeah,
Repton.
so were you like that little?
No. I thought it was cool. Like always good reception of Dalton.
So you had your respect straight away.
Yeah, you know, from young. Like
Right.
he first time I seen him, he had a mad up hair. It's like
It's
imagine the skin with the thing that goes around the side of your head,
the little mohawk thing.
round the back of his head.
The picture of it is on the wall because when I was in there last night, I was like, that's not Dalton. It
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
looks like Grant.
Yeah, I think there was an even worse one than that. It was bad. Yeah,
It's really bad.
So-
Sorry, Dalton. It's really
yeah, but you knew he could fight though. A little cunt
yeah,
like
so
that.
we
for-
didn't care.
But I remember do you know what? This is a funny story. Now I want to get it right.
Right, go on.
I want to get it right. Was it Dalton? I'm sure it was Dalton. It was Peter McGraw as well. Was the other one. Basically, right. So I'd got to a few national finals.
Yeah.
And lost. When I lost, the other kid went to go do the England stuff, and I didn't. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it was Dalton. Yeah. I'm sure it was Dalton that didn't win the ABAs that year, but it was definitely Peter. But it might have been because Dalton was with Peter. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Right.
So it might have been Peter. So sorry to Peter if it was Peter. Yeah. One of them, if not both of them, they didn't win the championship to get there. Yeah. And I was half fuming. You know? Yeah. I was sat there. Yeah. All thing like hating. Just like, no, I was cool with them. Yeah. But at the same time, low key hating, thinking,
Yeah.
you've only been selected because this, that, and he like. Don't get me wrong, there was all good fighters.
Yeah.
But it's just obviously me just being a little like.
You
I
being
just
you?
got there and thinking, oh, I've had to win to get here, and there's like 5 people that
Yeah.
didn't even. Like, I was pissed,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Dalton might have been one of them, but he might have won. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask him, but
That
it was one
so
of Dalton or
funny.
Pete. I can remember.
It's like, do you know, it when you talk about those times of like, you know, being 14, 15 and like traveling to Ireland and like, you know, these guys being here, and then how, especially with Dalton and Grant, and how, you know, it is now it turns out to be that, you know, you're in the gym with him, and when you put up posts, especially the ones like from just the fight gone, I've been like, you know, this is family, this is like from day one. You know, I think a lot of people like to throw out that day ones thing and like loyalty and like family. And I don't think a lot of people, in my experience, really understand the weight of those words. But you guys do. Like it's so entwined, even with like, you know, Dalton's sisters and, you know, Grant's partners, and it's the wider family. You guys are all connected.
Yeah.
It is actually family. You
Yeah.
know, and that can only, I imagine, strengthen the bond inside what you're doing in that gym.
Do you know what? Yeah, it's very
I'm
easy.
gonna cry again. Jesus Christ, Lydia, put it together.
Nah, it's very easy.
It's just it's so it's so much more than boxing. You know, that's the stuff that like has made me fall in love with this sport and keeps me in it. It's not the bullshit, it's not the media, it's not the like the trash talking and the bullshit that goes with everything. It's the actual bonds and how this sport actually impacts people's lives for the better.
Yeah, because there's always a wide range of emotions in
Exactly.
sport in general. But boxing,
Yes.
when you're fighting, everything's a bit, because obviously the worst can happen at any time. But for me, yeah, we've had a great relationship, me and Grant, and we continue to have one. But for me, it was always very, very, very easy as an 18-year-old that was moving from London to Sheffield to start uni. It was very easy from early on to put my trust into Grant.
What was it about him? What did he
Bear in
show
mind,
you?
I was like a journeyman around the London amateur boxing club circuit,
Yeah.
in the sense of not my record or ability. I'm talking, me and my brother pretty much went to every gym in London at some point or another. I mean, just to quickly go through I started off at Roundshaw Boxing Club.
Right.
Went to Epsom and Newell. Then went to Earlsfield where I had my first fight.
Mm-hmm.
Then went to Newham. Then went to Hollington. Then went to the Lynn. Then went to Repton.
Yeah.
Trained at TKO, but was still boxing for Repton. And then at the end of all that, finished at Steel City.
Mm-hmm.
But Steel City was the first time me as Sonny took myself to a gym, joined a gym, went. I kind of did that at Repton when I moved out of my dad's and decided, no, if I'm boxing again, that's where I'm training. I wanted to train there. I didn't want to train at Lynn no more. Just I like sparring. That was the main reason I could go up there and just do 12 rounds of sparring. From a kid. I loved it. But
and is that not common for anyone who doesn't really know the sort of ins and outs of
there's some fighters that have moved about and learn a bit from each and then do there and then go and do there and go. We used to go because my dad used to fall out with someone after a year or two and then we had to move on, you know what I mean? Because then it would go to, well, obviously we was always winning and that, so we was always welcome, but my dad wasn't, and when he weren't welcome.
Which I imagine is difficult when you're 10.
Yeah, exactly.
I can come in, but my dad can't.
Yeah, true. But he did it all the way up to when he was like 18 as well, so. But one thing I will say is, the reason why it was so easy after a few months for me to put my trust in Grant the way I have and continue to do so, not necessarily isn't his, he knows boxing better than everyone. Not necessarily isn't like, there's no one that could train me better than him. Like, because for me, I think the great trainers all get to a certain point and it's about how they deal with a person. That's how I think. I think anyone that knows boxing knows how to get someone fit, knows how to get someone ready for a fight. There's ways to do it. There's ways to not do it, yeah. But for me, certain people will bring out the most of certain others. They might, you know what I mean? It's just the way it is. But one thing, my boxing love language, in need of a better phrase.
Come on, I love language.
You know what I mean? As a fighter to go somewhere and love his environment, yeah? So my love language is like effort. Because of what I'm like, yeah, everything is like, oh yeah, I'll do that later. Forget to do it. Oh, I completely forgot. Sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because I can kind of get away with that because I'm not working admin or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So, but the one thing Grant gives me that I think very few, for me, from seeing all these people I've seen and seeing all, there's very few boxing coaches that genuinely dedicate them lives, not to their boxing career, but to the boxing careers of their fighters. And I think that's what Grant does and does very well. Like in the 7-8 years we've trained together, we've had a very good relationship. I put that post out, and just to highlight it again for the people that didn't hear it, I joined here about 2014, over 7 years ago. And I did 2 years of an amateur there, and then I've done over 5 years as a pro. And me and Grant, out of 17 pro fights, okay, he didn't do my first 2 pro fights because I was in Marbella, but no one really did my second. I kind of trained myself because of what went on. But like I said, so all them fights, the last 2 seasons amateur, me and Grant have only ever lost 1 fight together. And that was a split decision where really, if you look at the scorecards, I won 2 of the rounds, he won 1. But he won the first round by 3 scores. I won both the second and third by 2 rounds to 1, 2 rounds to 1. I thought I won the fight. It was a close fight. But anyway, so the 1 fight I've lost in the 7 years was a flick of a coin fight. And that was a 3-rounder. I don't even count them because I wasn't good. I was not a good 3-round fighter, but I'm a great 12-round fighter. But like, I don't think people understand, like, me and Grant won a senior ABA title together. And then I've gone all the way. British, internationals, to winning and defending a world title. Like, and one thing that, like I said, that he's never been short of is his passion, his effort. And my dad was a maverick. My dad was nuts. Anyone that kind of spent a bit of time around him for a prolonged period of time realised he was kind of nuts. But one thing that never, to say the least. But one thing that never, ever thwarted was effort. So I'm one of those kids, thank God. Don't get me wrong, there was hundreds of times when I wish my dad was a bit less of a prick. Do you know what I mean? A bit less of a sergeant major, a bit less on me, let me go and make all the mistakes that all the kids are doing, and you know what I mean, doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like there was that to a certain degree, but like the effort never faltered. Like even when my dad was really struggling, having to sell his cars, like, because bear in mind, we grew up with like seeing my dad always passing money through his hands. Like, it was a bit of a money man, do you know what I mean? And as he took our boxing career more serious and it got a bit further on into like, say, like hitting like 13, 14s, the struggle was coming in now. Because obviously boxing it's not hard to keep up, depending. Like, my dad made sure if he thought like Repton was the best gym, while we was driving an hour and there back every night to go, we was driving up and down to Newcastle to support the other lads box. Like, so in that side of things, it's just eating healthy and traveling all the time. But we never had a lack of effort. So I wouldn't be able to have a lack of effort in my boxing career from a trainer. And with me, like, you know, the moment I'm not happy with something, I'll just say, especially when I'm like, because you got to remember, like, I joined the gym to join an amateur gym at Still City. So that was the beginning of the relationship. But now as a pro, I'm employing Grant.
Yeah.
Like, that's the real relationship. Like, so there's never been a time when, I'm thinking again, but at the same time, just like I need to keep upping my levels and making sure I'm better, like, I'm seeing Grant do that as well. Yeah. And Grant's always been wicked and he has a good brain for the sport. He has a very good brain for the sport and he studies it.
Do you feel he gets the recognition that he deserves in terms of, you know, when the end of year conversations come up, boxer of the year or boxing trainer of the year, coach of the year, or who's the best coach in the UK, you know? Do you feel like his name should be out there a little bit more?
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, right now, yeah, like, because the other names out there are doing what I'm doing, but maybe a couple of fighters or maybe just a bit more, but we're getting to that. Like, you got to remember, when I joined back to Still City, I was the only pro. You know what I mean? So when I joined back, like, for a year, I was only pro. Then like Levi came, then Dalton turned pro, my brother came. Like, it was building, and then you had a few join, a few leave. We've got a good little squad going on now. A good little squad, a good little setup, good sparring. Like, everyone's sort of partnered up a couple of times sometimes. Like, it's good. We've got a buzz going. But credit, but
I know he would be the last. He would be the last person to say, "I even want the credit." You know, I know that's not his. It's not in his character to crave that or to want to do media stuff. I mean, I have to pull. We've talked about it before. I have to literally. It's like, I'm like, please do an interview with me. You know,
it's just not. It's like, one, it's not an interest of his. Like, a lot of people, they try and infiltrate boxing to better themselves, to do this, that, and the other. Like, it's Grant's passion. He's following his passion. And if you ask Grant or anyone in like that sort of, like, what they really want, they'll tell you for their fighters to make money. Yeah. And the biggest, most important thing for him is at the end of my career, when he's finished training, and all the fighters that he's trained to finish fighting, no one will look back and say, Myth rubbed me off. Yeah. He took the piss out of me. He put me in fights when he shouldn't have. He done this to me. And there isn't no one. He always stands the corner. Like, I've seen Myth, I've seen Grant, like, threatening to pull world title fights at the last minute as the challenger because he wasn't happy with the champion's gloves. So 20-minute ooh-ah, this, that and the other. The board come, check the gloves. You can't fight in them. Oh, sorry, Grant. No. Yeah. Like, I've also seen other trainers let the champion come in the next day on the IBF check weigh-in, heavy. The check weight the next day we meant to be in 10 pounds over, heavy, and say, no, that's all right. No, go on, that's all right. As the challenger for world titles. So, do you hear what I'm saying? And with that,
I
like,
hear what you're saying.
Grant will not care about pissing someone off or antagonizing someone if he genuinely believes in his heart of heart that, one, it's the right thing to do, and two, it's to protect his fighter. No, it's not even, like, it's non-negotiable. Like, he's like me in the sense of, sometimes you might get wires crossed a little bit. Like sometimes someone might say something, I think they're being a certain way, and I might just go a bit too far back at them, and they didn't mean it like that. Maybe. But I'd rather find out that way than let you take the piss out of me. And Grant's the same. Like, because in boxing, they always try, there's always something, a little angle, something that people are trying to do. Like, and I've seen it. It's not even needed for me or my career. But one thing I do know of Grant is I can be my disorganized self. I can just get a message. Like, if you looked at my conversation.
Disorganized?
Terribly.
Are you?
Organized chaos. Unorganized chaos. Everything. I'm messy.
I would have thought you were like to the book.
Nah. Procrastinate.
You're always very like
last minute. Everything's
Really?
last minute. I forget things. Oh, I'm terrible. Like, but it's because I care about certain things.
Yeah.
So certain things I care about, I'll never forget. Like, this is not about the organised, like the memory stuff, yeah. But then other things that, not I'm saying I don't care about it, like, but my attention, I might say, oh yeah. Like, but, okay, this for example, we arranged about a week ago me coming here on Monday, right?
Yes. And I texted you yesterday because I was like, he's after forgetting.
All week, yeah?
Yeah.
All week until I think you texted me yesterday, yeah?
I did.
I've been thinking, I've got something to do on Monday. All week. Like, and then someone asked me, oh, can I do an interview with you on Monday? Yeah. And I went, do you know what? Let me not say yes, but this is what I do. I remembered Monday. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm just kind of waiting for it to come back to my head. But I think I might have remembered before. I genuinely think I might remember before you messaged me.
Well, see, I have enough experience in this game now where I always like, if I
Always
haven't
check up.
heard, I was
Always
like,
check.
right, I'm gonna. Then I was like, oh, I don't want to text him on a Sunday because he could be with the babies. And then I was like, no, actually, I don't care. If he doesn't come in tomorrow, there'll be carnage. Imagine if you didn't turn up today.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. Imagine if I didn't turn up. Imagine if I just left you to your own devices. Is this the next? Oh, so last time we got to go way over. Do we not get to do it this
sweating.
time?
We're going way over an hour.
Do we not get to do
over
that?
an hour? Not so, but
I
20 minutes
like
over.
going
That's
over.
You do like going over. The last time you were here, we were about. It was actually about 10 o'clock when you were leaving. But we've a new